In the heart of Oke-Ibadan, a quiet Yoruba village nestled between rolling green hills and the flowing Ocean River, lived Iya Morounkeji, an elderly woman renowned for her kindness and generosity. Her house, made of red mud bricks with a thatched roof, stood near the square, where she often sat outside waving baskets and chatting with passers-by. Her laughter was a familiar sound and her wisdom was sought by many. She was the first to visit when a baby was born, bringing herbs and gifts, and she was there to comfort grieving families whenever misfortune struck. Iya Morounkeji seemed like the heart of the village, a mother to all, especially the younger generation. She often advised the village youth, preparing them for the wider world. Her soft voice was a balm, her stories about the past always so tense. If anyone had a problem, she would be there with a solution. When the children fell ill, she brewed herbs teas and bring them back to health. But beneath her veil of kindness lay a secret so dark that the village had not dared to suspect it. Over the years, something sinister crept into the lives of Oke-Ibadan's family. A string of mysterious deaths began to occur, targeting the youth who had just completed their education and returning to the village to care for their aging parents. One by one, they fell victim of a strange illness that no healer could cure. The sickness struck without warning. The young people, full of life, recently employed and brimming with hope for the future, would suddenly fall ill. They would first complain of fatigue, then develop a high fever, followed by violent coughing fits. Within days, their vibrant spirits were extinguished. The village mourned the loss of the youth deeply, and the elders were baffled. They performed sacrifices, asking the babalawos, the village diviners, for guidance, and even held all-night vigil to plead with the gods. Yet, nothing seems to stop the pattern of deaths. It always struck those who had just begun to help their parents after securing their first jobs, returning from the big city, full of hope and energy. The villagers began to whisper that Oke-Ibadan was cursed. Some said it was the wrath of the gods, angry that the younger generation was leaving the village to seek fortune in the city. Others speculated that there was enemies among them using dark magic to destroy their future. But no one had dared to point fingers in the village, so close-knitted, and pain of losing loved ones made everyone cautious. One such youth was Adebola, the only son of Mama Adebola, a widow whose husband had passed away many years before. Adebola had been her pride and joy. He had studied hard, graduated with honors, and secured a prestigious job in Lagos. The day he returned to the village, bringing gifts and money for his mother, and the whole community celebrated his success. Mama Adebola's face shone with pride, for she had raised him alone through years of hardship. Iya Morounkeji, as was her custom, visited Mama Adebola's home that evening. She brought a bunch of herbs and congratulated Adebola with her usual smile. "You have made your mother proud," she said, her eyes gleaming warmly. "Here, take these herbs, my child. They keep you strong and healthy. Drink them every night and before bed." Adebola, trusting Iya Morounkeji like everyone else in the village, took the herbs without questioning. He had heard the rumors of strange deaths that he believed they were simply accidents or perhaps the will of the gods. He never imagined that his own fate would take a dark turn. But a few days later, the unthinkable happened. Adebola fell ill. At first, it was only a slight headache and fatigue, which he brushed off as exhaustion from his trip. But by the second day, he was burning with fever, unable to rise from his mat. Mama Adebola, frantic with worry, called every healer she could find, but none could determine the cause of his illness. Adebola's condition worsened. He began coughing up blood and moaning in his sleep. "Iya Morounkeji," the herbs, he murmured. In his delirium, one night, his voice weak and cracked. Mama Adebola, sitting by his side, froze. Her heart raced as his words echoed in her mind. Iya Morounkeji, the kind old woman? She had known Iya Morounkeji all her life and had trusted and completely. But in Adebola's voice, the way he struggled to mention the herbs made her uneasy. That night, after making sure Adebola was asleep, Mama Adebola wrapped her shawl tightly around her and left her home in the dead of the night. Her feet made no sound as she walked through the empty streets of the village towards Iya Morounkeji's house. A faint light flickered inside, peering through a small crack in the window. Mama Adebola's breath caught in her throat. Inside Iya Morounkeji's house, she sat before a small wooden shrine, chanting in a low voice. In her hands, she held small clay effigies, dolls that looked eerily familiar. One of the effigies had Adebola's name etched into it. There laid on the floor were dolls of all the youths who had died in the village, their names carefully carved into the bags. Terror gripped Mama Adebola's heart as horrifying truth dawned on her. Iya Morounkeji was behind the deaths. She was not the kind woman everyone thought she was. She was a witch, using the life force of the village youth to sustain her own longevity. Without a moment to waste, Mama Adebola ran back to the village, her legs shaking with fear, but her resolve stronger than ever. At dawn, she approached the elders and told them what she had seen. They were skeptical at first. Iya Morounkeji had been a pillar of the community for decades, always kind, always helpful. But Mama Adebola's tearful pleas and Adebola's worsening condition convinced them to investigate. That very evening, the elders, along with a few brave men, stormed Iya Morounkeji's home. What they found chilled them to the bone. The shrine was exactly as Mama Adebola had described it, complete with effigies of dead youths, each one marked with names of its victim. Iya Morounkeji was caught in the act, her face twisted in a hideous snarl as the villagers dragged her out into the square. "You don't understand," she screamed, her once kind voice now shrill and filled with malice. "I did it for survival. The energy of the youth kept me alive. Without it, I would have died long ago. You all needed me." The villagers were stoned. No one could believe that woman they had trusted for so many years had been responsible for so much pain and suffering. Her kindness had been nothing but a mask for the evil she harbored within. The elders declared her guilty of witchcraft and murder. Her name was cursed and she was banned from the village, never to return. As she was dragged away, she spat curses on the people of Oke-Ibadan, but her power over them had ended. Adebola, though weak, eventually recovered, but the village was forever changed. Iya Morounkeji's betrayal had shaken them to their core. Trust, once so easily given, became something earned with great difficulty. The villagers learned to be more vigilant, to not blindly trust appearances, for they had knew that sometimes the greatest evil could hide behind the sweetest smile. And Mama Adebola, she became a beacon of resilience, a reminder to all that no matter how dark the night, the truth would always come to light. The village elders thanked her for her courage, for if she had not uncovered Iya Morounkeji's secret, Oke-Ibadan's youth might have continued to fall victim to the witched malevolence. Years later, the story of Iya Morounkeji was told to the children as a cautionary tale, a reminder that not all kindness is genuine, and sometimes the greatest evil can hide in plain sight.